to have a book review of Atomic Habits. Yeah, everyone has been talking about this book. I know it is such a really good book, and today I wanted to share with you my 4 takeaways and how those takeaways have really helped my finances and how I manage it, as well as how I take action to earn more money, because it's not just about managing. You have to manage what you've made. So this book has helped my mindset in the actions that I take as I work towards earning more money. Let's get into the episode. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is the Personal Finance and Coffee Podcast. And on this channel we talk about money and finances. How can we manage the money that we make so that we are able to attain the goals that we have? So that 5 years later, 10 years later, you don't feel like I made the money, but where did it go? That's what we talk about here. If you find this interesting, please like, please subscribe, so that you don't miss upcoming episodes. We're going to have a book review of Atomic Habits. Yeah, everyone has been talking about this book. I know it is such a really good book, and today I wanted to share with you my 4 takeaways and how those takeaways have really helped my finances and how I manage it, as well as how I take action to earn more money, because it's not just about managing. You have to manage what you've made. So this book has helped my mindset in the actions that I take as I work towards earning more money. Let's get into the episode. My first takeaway is that he was talking about what progress really looks like. And he was explaining that sometimes you feel like you've been doing something over and over again, but you're not seeing the change. And he explains that those tiny habits, they build up over time, and that is how we see the change. It's like an ice cube. He gave the example of an ice cube. You put an ice cube there, and then you increase the temperature, but it's not melting. And then suddenly it's melting, and it turns into ice. But at which point did it start to melt? Anyway, so how this concept, because when we look at social media, it looks like people are just thriving and they just started and everything is working out for them. But that is not what it is. He explains that the little changes keep adding up, one on top of the other, one on top of the other. And then suddenly, when you're on the outside and it looks like there's a big change, and you're like, I can't do something that big. But it wasn't that they did something big. They did little steps that got them there. He was saying that all big things come from small beginnings. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision, but as the decision is repeated, a habit sprouts and grows stronger. For me, this concept, how I apply it to my finances and the concept of earning money and managing the money better, there are a number of ways. One is that the practice and the habit of any business that you're in. You will not open the shop and now you're a millionaire. Because no, you will not open the YouTube channel and suddenly you're making money. It is the little, you open the shop every day. Here I am, I started uploading in 2023, guys. I'm not yet monetized, but every time I make an episode, it's a tiny habit. Every time I learn something new, I do something, it's a tiny habit. And when this concept really keeps me going, because I know that if I am consistent and I don't stop, I will get to that point where I'm starting to earn from this. Perhaps, it starts to earn me money. Not necessarily only through monetization. It could be other forms. It could be through sponsorships and through having an online business. There are different ways. But all that is not possible if I am not consistently if I'm not consistently uploading or consistently learning. It really, really reminded me that what I see and I think other people have done instantly, it took them time. And likewise, it keeps me consistent on this pursuit to slowly put in the work, to plant the seeds of this income that I want to earn, to plant the seeds, to nurture them, and keep learning and growing. It's the tiny habits, one video at a time, one sale at a time in your business that will slowly get you there. So for me, this is how this takeaway from this book really keeps me going. My second takeaway from this book is that changing your identity is possible and it's important. He was talking about changing your identity. This is what he was saying. Identity emerges out of your habits. You are not born with preset beliefs. Every belief, including those about yourself, is learned and conditioned through experience. The more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. Whatever you identify with right now, you only believe it because you have proof of it. What, for me, this told me is that when it comes to how I see myself, how do I identify as Gabby? For a while, I'd be like, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel. 2019, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel. Oh, and I just never took action. I did not identify as a person who created content. And when I started the process, this journey of creating YouTube and creating content, even before I am actually monetized, whatever, I had to tell myself, Gabby, I am a YouTuber. You know what I mean? And identifying it. And when he talks about, we identify as a person who does something because we have the proof of the actions we have done, the habits we have built. So, if what you're trying to do right now is create a job, for example, in a certain organization, you work towards that. You start to carry yourself with the energy of being a professional. The way you respond to people, even as you reach out for interviews, as you meet people, social get-togethers, and you're telling them that you're looking for a job, you believe and slowly identify with someone who is professional as you look for these opportunities. If what you're doing is terms of business, the actions that you take will lead you towards that. The actions that you take of starting the business, establishing it, looking out for clients, marketing, all those things, you need to identify as a business owner. I am a business owner, I have a small business there, you know what I mean? So for me, this is how this concept is really helping. I'm still working on it, especially when it comes to, even when it comes to budgeting, even when it comes to managing your finances. Sometimes people say that, no, me, I'm not good with money. Me, I'm not good with money, I'm not good at that. You don't identify with it. So you don't even have the energy to put in the actions. But if you sit down one day and you make the budget, then you say, I am good with my money, I budget. You have the proof of the habit as you implement this action. And that action of budgeting and managing your finances is then going to help you keep learning and keep improving until you build this identity and have that confidence. So that was my second takeaway. My third takeaway. So after he had talked about how you have an identity and you build it with a habit and you have proof, my third takeaway is the best way to build a habit. This is what he said. An implementation intention is a plan you make beforehand about when and where to act. This is how you intend to implement a particular habit. For so long, I would say I'm going to. But every time I would not say, this is the day, on Monday, at 10 o'clock, I'm going to record a video. When I would not set that intention, I would find myself sticking to the analysis paralysis. I would watch YouTube videos about how to do this, but I would not do anything. So now, every time that I set an intention, I am clear. I will do this on this day at this time. Even when it comes to creating the budgets. I talk about this. When I'm going to check in, when I'm going to make the budget, set the time, set the place. That is how you build the habit. So you say every Monday, this is what I do. Then you take action on it. I learned this concept from this habit, and it has helped me greatly. Not just in creating content, as I work towards learning, as I work towards having another income stream, but also when it comes to my budgeting process and managing my money and planning my week. When I set my intention, this is when I budget, this is when I check in on my finances, it has really helped with consistency. So whichever habit you're trying to build, be it business, be it managing money, be it anything else that you want, it could be working out, anything else, set the implementation intention. When you're going to do it and where you're going to do it from. So that when the time comes, you have less resistance and you're actually able to go through and take action on it much faster. Yeah. Now, if you've been wondering about how best you can have a budget in a Google Sheet, I have a Google Sheet document where I budget all the time, and I made this template so that you can try it out if you've been looking for one. I have a link to my shop where you can purchase the template if you've been looking for a budgeting template. Yeah. Now let's go to my last takeaway. My fourth and final takeaway is that he talked about how motivation is overrated. and environment matters more. Now, when he talked about this is what he was saying. The area around us, there are things that are more visible and they're easier for us to reach out to and to do. For example, if the intention is to read more books about personal finance, when you walk into your office, when you walk into your house, your bedroom, do you see a book that you can read? Is the environment conducive, for example, to pick the book and to read it? That's an example that I can give. So, if it is easier for you to pick your phone than to pick the book, you will eventually pick the phone more than you pick the book. That's an example. Now, he also explains that when we pick an area and we set an intention for an area, for example, this is where I script my videos, or this is where I sit and I do this. Our brain associates that area with that habit, which means that it becomes easier for you to execute on that habit whenever you see the place and you're like, oh, actually I haven't sat there to work on my business as often as I want to. That's simply an example. And he also explains that if you can't just go, you have a big space and what, just rearrange a few things in your space. Just rearrange a few things in your space. For me, how this really helps me when it comes to the environment. The place where I have my budgeting binders, the place where I track my expenses, I associate that it's just a drawer. Let me be clear. I just have one drawer where I keep the things that I use for budgeting. That's my environment. So every time I know it's time to do this, I sit and open that drawer. For me, that is how I've associated. I always make my videos on this sofa. It's as simple as that. So for me in my house, this is the way I make videos. I've associated the environment with that specific habit. And these are examples that this is what has helped me continue making videos. And I'm planting seeds for another income stream. And I'm planting seeds in managing my money better. So these are some of the examples that I can give. There's so many takeaways I got from this book. And not all of it's not that everything I got from this book only applies to finances. There are so many things that I've learned that help me in my everyday life. I'm simply extracting them and putting them in the context of finances, because that is what we talk about on this channel. And I would really encourage you to get this book. For a long time, I'll tell myself, oh no, I can't read books, I can't buy books, books are expensive. Guys, on that Kampala Road street, you know where Cairo Bank is? As if walking down to Radio 1, that's if you're in Uganda. On those streets, guys, you get yourself a copy of a book between 10 to 15,000, maximum 20,000. You get yourself a copy of the book. It is not the same quality as Aristo, but if your barrier to reading books is the cost, just go there and pick yourself a copy. It may not even have all the books, but usually they have the most common books. For sure, you'll find Atomic Habit there. Yeah. So if reading books is something you've been wanting to do, I'll have a playlist of my book reviews that I've made, and in particular, the review that I made about the 4DX, the 4 disciplines of execution, I think really goes hand in hand with this book, because we set intentions, but then we don't do. So this book review really helped me move from setting intentions and then taking action to keep consistent. So if that's interesting, you can watch it here. Thank you for watching. You can like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.